of the City of East Cleveland's Financial Planning and Supervision Commission. We now have a quorum. I am the honorary secretary. And I'm Mayor Norton.
Yes.
Councilwoman and Council President Ms. Thomas.
I am present.
Dr. Kager.
Here.
Sharon Hanrahan. Here. We have 4 people. We now have a quorum. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the prior meeting's minutes. Oh, before we go to that, just want to let you folks know that Marian Nowak did call me on the way here, and she sends her regrets. Her husband, while her husband is doing better, he's still in bad shape, and we're thinking about him. And she feels, she sent her regrets and hopes to make the next meeting, so, and we hope to see her. Okay, on to the approval of the prior meeting's minutes. That was from November 24th. And I believe we did. We're going to have to defer those until our next meeting. We had 4 people present at that meeting, but one of them is not present here, so we're going to have a quorum of those in attendance at that meeting. Let's go on to the report of the financial supervisor.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Before you is our packet that you get every meeting. And I'd just like to go through it, take a couple minutes, go through it. The first page is the bank rec. And we have for you the reconciliation through November. The city is reconciled to the county, so that's wonderful news. At the bottom of that page, we have the police department account as of August and the municipal court as of December. So those accounts were brought on for your information as well. The next page, page 2, we are again monitoring the 13 deficit funds. So the city has total deficit funds as of the end of November of $5.1 million. We go to page 6. Again, this is through November. The city is in the process of closing the books for December. But through November, these are the revenues that aren't coming in as anticipated. A lot of it is grant timing. You can see CDBG, VOCA, NSP, COPS. It's just a matter of the timing of the revenues. So that's page 6. Page 7 tells you what departments or funds are exceeding the appropriation level at that time, and the appropriation level at the end of November is about 92%. So again, each expenditure is monitored closely. The city is in constant contact with us. The reason a lot of these are high is because if you remember at our last commission meeting, the city received $315,000 from the sale of the cell tower lease and $175,000 from workers' comp. So that's almost $500,000. So at that time, the city paid all past due health care bills. So that caused the appropriations to definitely raise. But it was good news that those were able to be paid. Pages 8, 9, and 10 simply show what the budget constraints are. And again, as we know, things are very tight. They're always going to be tight in East Cleveland. It's just every expenditure is monitored, every revenue is welcome. So this just tells where the city is at the end of November. It kind of mirrors pages 6 and 7, just a little bit more detail. I'm happy to report that as of the end of November, the city was able to make It's payroll and pension payments. So those were all made through the end of November. And also it's made all of its December payrolls as well. And that was a concern because there were 3 that hit the bank in December. But I want to also make you aware, when the city made its last payroll, because it paid those health care claims, which it needed to do, the city exceeded the appropriations passed by council. So when the financial supervisor, when we received that payroll, we did not approve the payment of that payroll just because it exceeded the appropriations. But the city had money in the bank to make the payroll, and it did. The city did not make the corresponding pension payments, but made those in January. So through December, all pension and payroll has been paid. The aging report is the list of accounts payable, and that's got its own, it's after the monthly information, it's got its own staple on the packet. Everybody there? It's got its own, it's in the binder clip. The list of the bills. As we do every month, we come through, and this was done yesterday, actually, January 20th. So it's pretty recent. 3.3 in outstanding payables for the city. And what we did was we kind of broke it down for you, gave you a little bit more detail so you know what makes that up. And again, $974,000 in those lawsuits, and I know the city is still trying to, see if we can do better than those, and I hope that's the case. Under healthcare, there's some detail: pharmacy, medical, TPA claims, the TPA audits. That's when the third-party administrator goes through the claims and makes sure everything's as it should be. That's about $437,000 of the total. So again, we're just trying to give you more detail.
If I can ask, would pension and payroll will be paid through December? These medical claims were received after the city paid the other medical claims, which caused them to go over their appropriations.
Correct.
Okay. Correct.
They paid those claims in November. And this is since that time.
Yes. Okay.
So again, this just tells you chronologically when they were due and a little bit more detail as to who was owed. That's pretty much the normal packet. What I would like to do, though, I kind of want you to know, the city we've been making payroll, doing our best with the pension. Obviously, we're not doing the health care, paying it since November. But I kind of wanted to just let you know what's on the city's plate right now, to give you an idea of what, on a daily basis, what the city and the finance director and the mayor and everybody's working with. We looked at cash yesterday, and the city has, with the payment from the court that it received today, about $410,000 to use in January, the rest of the month. Of that, an estimate for this next payroll is about $258,000. So now we're down to $152,000. What the city needs to do is make some decisions, and this is, like again, this is a daily basis. There's $90,000 in pension that goes along with the payroll.
So the 258 that you quoted was just salaries. So, okay, right. Thank you.
So you have $90,000 for pension. We have a $30,000 amount we have to pay the third-party administrator every month. So that's part of it. That's another bill. There's a Rumpke bill, we all know, the city stayed current on the trash collection, but the Rumpke bill is about $63,700, about $63,000. Unfortunately, the air conditioner broke in the computer room, and you can't have the computer room hot, so they got that fixed today, and that was about $2,300 that the city made the payment. And then we're always hearing, I mean, the safety vehicles are of a concern as to everybody. And they owe Ohio Cat, their service provider, for fixing them almost $41,000. So, and then in addition to that, we have about 400, you saw the healthcare claims, 437, and those are a pretty big deal. So that adds to $663,000. So you have $152,000 to pay those urgent things. So the city is constantly having to decide, what are we going to do with the revenue that we have? It's just to give you an idea of what they're facing on any given day.
If I can ask, and certainly anyone else has any questions. Today's January 21st, so is it safe to say that the majority of the revenue has been received by the city?
Yes.
Were there any questions for?
When does the next revenue for the next month come in? So what does that look like?
Pretty early in the month. I mean, Rita will send first week of the month, right?
The RETA payment will hit the city February 1st. And then
And how much is that?
that's usually around between 250 and 300,000, depending on how collections come in. It's all depending. But usually it's around 250, 300.
Once a month, right?
RETA actually deposits twice a month. Their biggest will be on the 1st. Then they do a second disbursement around the 15th, and that tends to be anywhere from 40 to 50,000. Oh, you want all revenue, not just RETA?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. The city also receives local government funding around the 15th of the month as well. And that has a larger variable. Usually it's anywhere from around 120. Sometimes it comes in at 180. So that varies. During the months of January and February, Cuyahoga County advances property tax revenue to the city. I'm not exactly sure how much has come in yet for January. What else happens the city collects a garbage fee, and that tends to be around 40 to 50,000 a month, as well as the disbursement from the court. And that varies. Normally it comes in between the 15th and the end of the month. The court tries to be diligent in getting that over, and that tends to be anywhere from 80 to 100,000, depending on the cases for the month. And then the traffic cameras usually range between 40 and 50,000, and that usually comes in around the 1st of the month, like the 4th or the 5th of the month. And those are the normal monthly things, except for the tax advance. That's only January, February.
Has the traffic camera been consistent with the $40,000 to $60,000?
Yes, during the month of January, ATS turned over $43,000 to the city, and then the city typically collects at the window approximately $10,000 a month, so that gets me between 40 and 50,000.
Also, if we were, and I won't say it is something because I don't like the word something, we had contract for ATS was that we were supposed to come up to a certain percentage in order for us to get a higher amount of money. Do you know if we have reached that percentage and are we getting,
I don't know, with ATS, it was the number of road traffic tickets, was that correct, before you start with the school?
Because PFM, we were supposed to hit that level, we haven't gotten anything from that.
so we have not received anything from the collection?
ATS we have for the current coming in, for people getting tickets. That's about the 40,000 or so.
And we haven't reached the percentage in order to,
No.
Anita, would you explain what that means, because I don't know if, I really don't understand what that means, if you don't mind.
Okay. Help me out here, because you're having.
Excuse me, just one second. They can't hear you. I know that you guys do what you do, but they can't hear you.
Okay, okay. Is that there's plenty, is that better?
Come on, guys.
Okay, the city has two traffic companies, ATS and PFM. Is that right? PFS, sorry, there's too many acronyms, I'm sorry. The ATS is the original collection agency, and that's who we had an advance that was taken.
You can't hear her because you're talking. And I want you to fully understand what she's saying, because this affects our revenue.
Okay, you should be a school teacher, Ms. Thomas. Okay, so ATS, there was an advance taken by the city that is now paid off. The advance is paid back. The city is now starting to receive revenue. Got some in December, and we got some in January. So that is a good thing. The city also has PFS,
I think it's us.
that is a collection agency, if you will. Anything that was a certain, like 90 days or more old, then those tickets were taken from ATS and given to PFS. PFS is then collecting revenues from those tickets. When the city started with PFS gave an advance to the city of about 800 some thousand. But in order to receive, and again, I don't have the numbers in front of me, so it might be off a little bit, but the city got an advance of about 800,000 or so. In order for the city, okay, so then PFS said, look, East Cleveland, we need to collect a couple $1 million to get you, because that's like present value of the money. We need to collect about $2 million in fines. Until we get that, you are not going to get any more money from us. So the city is still getting to that $2 million, and we're not there yet. And the way the monies are coming in from those first collections, we probably won't be. But, so right now, the city has stopped sending those old tickets to PFS. So they're no longer sending those, because basically they're collecting the money and the city's not getting it.
They're not, they're not getting it because the company was keeping the money.
Right, the company's keeping the money to get into that $2 million or so threshold, and the monies haven't come in to that amount.
Thank you for your explanation, and I'm glad that my representative will understand. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
If I may leapfrog on that, and I shouldn't even be asking this of you, and I apologize. Do you have any understanding from the law department here, or any legal authority, if there might be some contractual concerns about not sending those tickets to the PFS?
No, I can't comment on that, Sharon, I don't know.
questions of Dina? Thank you. Before we go on to the next item on the agenda, I'd like to go back and make sure that we approve the minutes. Those are from November 24th, and the people, the members of the commission who were in attendance was myself, Rob Frost, Dr. Kaver, and Barbara J. Thomas. So at this point, I would definitely take any amendments that you might have for the minutes, corrections, additions, what have you. And if there are none, then I would look for a motion to approve.
So,
Second, Dr. Kaver moves.
Mr. Clark.
Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Frost moves. And Ms. Thomas seconds. I will call the roll. Mr. Frost.
Yes.
Ms. Thomas.
Yes.
Dr. Kaver.
Yes.
Sharon Hanrahan. Yes. Thank you. Those minutes are approved. Okay, back to our agenda. Next item on the agenda is the report of the mayor.
Good afternoon. Beautiful winter day to be here with you. Just a reflection of some of the daily challenges that were outlined by the financial supervisors. Safety vehicles, always a concern. We are receiving shortly an ambulance from another community, a Warren ambulance, so we look forward to that. In addition to that, new fire trucks, we believe we'll receive them next week, so we'll be better able to plow through this snow. In addition to that, I'm open to any questions that you would have.
So how many snowplow trucks? Two.
And those will be recessed, or is it this month?
I believe next week.
Next week, okay, great.
It's always next week.
Yeah, it is. You're right about that.
What did you expect them before next week?
No, we expect it around next week.
These were the trucks that were paid for by the federal grant.
Yes, for about a year, we requested of HUD, the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development, to allow us to use a portion of our community development block grant dollars to purchase, or lease actually, technically, but really purchase snowplow vehicles. And it's something that is not normally done with that type of funding, but we got special permission from the United States government.
So are we using older trucks right now to plow the streets? One?
It's an extremely old truck. And, well, not extremely, but it has quite a temper, and it costs us quite a bit of money. And more than the temper and the money is the downtime and the inconvenience it causes for businesses and residents. We really want to fix that. And getting the two new trucks, we'll have certainly better coverage on the hills to keep those in good shape. But also our residential areas will see some improvement, and that's what really matters to me in this transaction, is the residents. It's been a long time since we've been able to adequately plow streets, and we'll be able to do that.
And do we have plenty of salt?
We have enough salt.
You said what?
We have enough salt.
Mayor, I was wondering if you might clarify, and I think we had talked about it, so that, and maybe if I'm the only person that had this question about this. It was not long ago that the new county executive had made a phone call to and had offered, if you will, local government funds that the city would receive. Was that not just an extra salting of the pot, so to speak?
Yes. These will be paid as originally scheduled through the HUD grant that we received. Thank you for asking.
Want to make sure that's clear.
Yes.
Any other questions? Thank you, Mayor.
The council met last night for a council meeting, and there was a question up here about the soft trucks. It was on the agenda last night. We could not have the soft trucks. There were two things that hindered us last night. There was a question of the law director, being the law director, and there was I had a missing two council people. So it was emergency to pass this resolution. Also, I had asked for a agreement from the county, and for the county to be specific in their requirements as far as the trucks and the agreement that they have between Huntington Bank and the county. I received a call from the mayor a weekend ago saying that we have a problem. And the problem, he said, was that our financing was withdrawn from the bank that we were supposed to be, that was supposed to be financing the truck. And he said, I need the council to approve other financing. I said I made a call to executive director, county executive director, Armin Budish, and Budish made a call to Huntington. Therefore, I need the council to approve that issue. So I called the meeting with the council to approve that, and we got started on that. As it turns out, the very bank that had withdrew its financing is a subsidiary of Huntington Bank. So Huntington called that bank, and that bank is now coming back to finance our monies. That's what took place with the trucks. Yesterday, like I said, I could not approve because of the two issues that was coming down the pipe. We're trying to straighten out the issue of the law director. I think I have some consideration of who the law director is. I want everybody to know that we don't have a law director, we don't have assistant law director, and we don't have an assistant finance director. We have a part-time finance director who comes 2 days a week, works part-time for another city. And that is causing us a problem. Also, I have in my possession, we're trying to get individuals to deal with the cost savings. And at this point in time, we have about 13 individuals that are on independent contracts. As of yesterday, I do not have a contract for these individuals, nor do I have an agreement for the independent contractors. I have a list of these, which I gave to the auditor, and they are being paid out of the general fund. And in the office of the council, we're supposed to have all contracts and agreements. I don't have any of these calling up to, matter of fact, we had the personnel director, Ms. Anna Marie Smith, come before the Personnel and Appointments Committee, and we asked her about the law director. At that point, she stated that we did not have one. Also, the chief of staff said we did not have one. And I was concerned that we have documents that has to be signed by our law director, and what we have is a prosecutor, and I don't even have a contract for the prosecutor. At this point, I had said before, Madam Chair, that following the money, following the documents, finding out what is going on and where it's going on is a role that the council has to play. Last night, the mayor was saying he has a law director. I'm not going to debate him on that issue. All I'm asking is if you have appointed one, have you sworn that individual in? Have you notified the council in a formal letter? And I requested that, and he said, you didn't ask me. Well, that's typical of the mayor. But I'm trying to figure out, and I asked the auditors how this can be done, if we can pay individual contractors from the general fund, and no contracts are available to be seen or to know what their duties are. So at this point in time, I'm saying, I'm trying to follow the money, giving you an explanation of what has been taking place. And as far as I know now, in talking to the director of the community development, my trucks, the city's trucks, will arrive in the next week. Basically, our vendors are skeptical, and that's what happened with the truck. But since we have a agreement or a potential agreement, unsigned agreement with the county, as soon as we pass legislation and the money is guaranteed, these trucks will arrive. And the word from the community development, he assured me that it will be next week. Then the week, and I was hoping that it didn't snow, but God does things on his own time. So I'm not getting hung up on that. I'm just telling you what the issues are and how they're come into play. I had the county council, Anthony Harrison, come in yesterday, and he gave us a little update on what was happening with the Hellenist Brown. They are in the process of dealing with Hellenist Brown through a 501c3. Reverend Braxton from New Life Cathedral is involved in that, and there's a whole lot going on with that, and our seniors are being taken care of, and different agencies are being contacted. Even the United Way is being contacted to deal with this. I think that basically, had we done all this before, we wouldn't be in the situation that we're in now. Hellenist Brown was supposed to be self-sustainable, through grants and reaching out. And the county has stated that they reached out to the director of LMS Brown, and they were rejected. So that is the what I have now, and the as soon as I can get my council together and get a quorum, I will be in the process of trying to pass this resolution for the trucks. And I got the council clerk calling around now to see if we can get 4. And if I can get 4 tomorrow, I will be able to deal with it. All I need is 4. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Are there any questions, Ms. Thomas?
I just have one general question.
Okay.
Is anyone concerned that the statement has been made that there's no law record for the city?
I thought she ended and said you do have
We do. We've had one, we had a law director retired, and we've had a law director since the day he walked out of the door. The law director's name is Willie Hemmings. She's been in the previous council, so she actually sat and met with council as the law director. Willie Hemmings. Great. She served previously as the city's prosecutor. She still does that from time to time. In our law department, as Ms. Forbes Fields knows as well, you come to wear many hats in our law department. So she has become our law director. And again, the city has not gone on hours without law.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Again, Ms. Hemmings herself is looking for a law director, and we're going to sit down and we'll talk about the law director as soon as I can get an appointment. And as far as I know, as far as what she has told us, she's not the law director. She is maybe taking on some director duties, but as right now, she is not a formal law director. And I stand by that, and we're not going to go any further with that. And yes, I'm concerned, that's why I'm bringing it up here. And she is one of those individuals that is an independent contractor that I don't have a contract for. Thank you very much.
The only thing that I would say is that from what I've heard sitting here, a lot of your questions and concerns appear to be of a legal nature, which is not our purview.
That's true.
And so I would suggest that you explore those avenues. I guess, in sitting here listening to who's not here, the biggest thing that concerns me is no assistant finance director. And I understand, actually, Janice sent me an email saying, thank you, my last day is X. So. And those things happen. People move on to other areas. But yeah, that is a definite hole in the fabric here that I'm sure is being worked on now. Any other comments or questions for Ms. Thomas? Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay. I don't have any old business. I'm not sure anymore at this point what's old and what's new. It's just business. The 2015 budget discussion. Anita, I noticed that in the packet there was, at the very end, I think, was an ordinance.
Yes, you have 2 ordinances.
Okay.
Okay, the first ordinance is the fiscal 14 amended appropriations that were passed by council. So you have that in front of you, just making you aware that council did have an amendment to the appropriations. We got some additional revenues, like I said, from the cell tower lease and the workers' comp, so council had a special meeting and passed those amendments.
council passed an amendment. 2015 appropriations, again, temporaries were passed by council. The city is in the process of putting final 15 appropriations together. We're still trying to, get it within revenue, so that's what the holdup has been. I met with the judge this morning and asked him, said, hey Judge, can you help us out at all? And he said he would absolutely assist the city in any way he could. So he and his clerk are looking to see what they can and can't do. We've got some other funds where the judge can pay people from probation fund, computer funds, special projects. So we spoke with the judge about that. And then he's going to get back to us. So we'll follow up with him next week to see what he can do to help the budget scenario. So, and then the rest of the administration is working on the rest to come up with new appropriations for 15.
I know it's still preliminary, Nita, but is there a specific number we're trying to fill, if you will? Because it sounds to me, as it would be in many places, that the problem is revenues.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one way or the other. Either you have to adjust one or
Right. The revenues we know dropped from last year because we got the one-time shots. So I do know that it's dropped about 500,000 at least from last year because of the cell tower lease sale and the workers' comp. I can have that for you at the next meeting though, and let you know if you'd like.
no, and that's fine. I would just expect that because of those one-time onlys that you would be working with less revenue. Just wondering, looking at what the appropriations might be at basis, what that difference might be. And I know that will be a moving target on a daily basis.
Yes,
so.
that's what they're dealing with right now.
Another question. The ordinance number 6114 is the amended 2014, so that's to cover all the spending. Okay, it would be. And I also noticed that the information in our packets is as of November. So is it safe to say that with the hole in the finance department that perhaps we're having difficulty closing the year out?
Yeah, just having the time to do it. I mean, everything's organized, they're reconciled actually. It's just a matter of closing to get into the next month.
With the revenue, in order to constrain the 2015 budget, is that number about $10 million?
It's somewhere around there. It's between like 10 million and 10 million four. I'm not sure. I don't want to lie to you, so I don't want to give you the exact amount, but it's around 10 million. Yeah. Yep.
Any other questions, comments? These are presented to us for informational purposes. The commission does not approve these. What we do approve, basically two things that come to mind. We approve the recovery plans, and we also can approve or reject, or we can approve or reject the issuance foreign currency debt. So these are just for informational purposes. I would expect that once the permanent appropriations are formulated, that those will be reflected in the recovery plan, of which we will be receiving the revision. And I would also expect, and tell me if I'm wrong, that they go hand in hand. So until those appropriations for 15 are finalized, we've got the basis for any forecasting for 2016.
We can't think about this plan concretely, as a whole until we get the appropriations in place.
But at the very least, is it not a requirement to submit permanent appropriations by
End of March.
And I am sure that it will take care of the rest. Okay, I get it.
So will you have an additional ordinance for February for the appropriations for February?
So actually, this was a 2-month budget. But we didn't put the numbers together, right? So we're assuming we have nothing here for January and February. So we're going to need something soon. you know.
So in some cases, because it's a 2-month budget for appropriations, what would commonly be done is to encumber one-time only expenditures. Like the big ones that you knew about, like, I don't know, workers' comp, things like that. So things like that will not be done because it is working on 2 months.
One more question, and I need to ask, I'll follow that. What are we doing about Kaiser?
Nothing so far. Nothing so far. The city made one payment back in 14, the beginning of 2014. But since then, nothing. And that, I think it's about 800,000 or so. It's on the payable listing, but nothing. Kaiser is still out there. I'm sorry, Kaiser 741 is what we owe them. And that really hasn't changed. Correct.
Thank you. Sure. Maybe we'll consider that. Thank you very much. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Anything else? Next meeting date and time. I leave myself at, sounds sick. I leave myself at the mercy of the auditor's office. And the reason I say that is simply because after what we've just heard about the need for a plan, working on the appropriations, the permanent one won't be until March 31st, at the very latest. We could have something earlier. I don't want to not meet in February, but I also, in saying that, don't have any expectations that we'll receive a lot more information. Maybe the 2014 grant goes out. I'm going to at least look at that.
Yep.
But these other things are tasks that are going to take a lot more time than just from now until the next time we meet. So I wanted to let you know that. After saying that, I know where we're at on the 18th. What about February 25th? Now, I might have to make that at 1:30 because I will be in the Akron area. 1:30, okay?
Yes.
All right. February 25th at 1:30. And again, I always hold this out if there is anything that needs the attention of the commission prior to that time, please let me know. I'd be more than happy to call a special meeting. And as long as we can get a quorum, we can meet. Yeah, thank you so much. And now public participation. Okay, Mr. Martin.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you guys for doing what you do. My concern is a personnel issue. It's come to my attention, and I want to make a note of this. We're losing our police officers. Some are resigning, some are getting new jobs, etc. And that's a safety issue. we may have to come to you guys to do some hiring. I know 2 years ago, we enacted some legislation on the hiring freeze, which just technically has not been adhered to because I don't have to go into that, I'm trying to be positive. But we're losing a lot of police officers, and I'm told that some are going to be moving on and retiring some more. So we're talking about a range from maybe from 5 to 6 to 10. And we need those police officers, and we probably need to hire. I know we're trying to make up $500,000 for what I was hearing here this afternoon. But that's going to be an issue that we're going to have to deal with. I wanted to bring to your attention that we're going to have to fill some of those slots because they're moving on. They're getting better pay situations, and I think there's some other things going on, but they're leaving. I want to bring that to your attention. I also want to say that in terms of communication, the deficit that the council deals with a lot of times is there isn't good communication between the administration and the council. We have a lot of times, Barbara does a great job, but we ask for things that we never get a response to. Contracts and just basic things that the council does. We shouldn't have to ask for that, that should be automatic. So I'm hoping that we can improve in that area. And I just thank you. I know about 2 years ago, I sent a letter asking you guys to come in here. And it's been someone to turn on here. I wrote a letter saying that we're spending more money than we're bringing in. And I can show you that letter. I looked at it the other day. So stay on top of us. We have our challenges. But I think we can, and on a positive note, I want to bring to your attention this, and I'll close on this. The students from Case West Reserve with the professors looked at our revenue and came up with some pretty good ideas on how we can raise up to $2 million. I want you guys to get that from our clerk, Tracy Peters. It's some good recommendations. I mean, well, we can raise almost $1 million something if we implement it, like housing inspection and basic things that we're not doing. We can do that. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Mr. McCoy.
How y'all? At the last several meetings that I've attended on this very important matter, when it came to coming up with a plan, it hadn't happened. Right up to the last meeting in which issues were discussed, like bankruptcy, would the cameras produce enough money to keep the city afloat, and etc. And from talking to the auditor, most of those plans were kind of iffy. So my question is, today as I stand here, has that condition, financial planning improved today, in which we can look more than the end of February to fall into this deep sinkhole, or at this meeting, do you commission see some a little light at the end of the tunnel, or are we still where we were at the last 3 or 4 meetings that I've been attending? Thank you very much.
You know, I hate to answer questions. I hate to answer questions because we get into this dialogue and I hate to do this. But we have been talking about the revised plan. The plan has to come from the city, not the commission. So we are waiting for the city to come up with a plan. We're here to guide, we're here to offer suggestions, but we're not here to come up with a plan. That's for the city to do.
So, ma'am, last comment. So after all these meetings I've been to, the city still hasn't been able to come up with a plan. That's my report.
They're working on it.
They're working on it.
They're working on it.
All right, thank you so
I mean,
much.
there are a lot of tough questions.
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
Oh, Mays.
Happy New Year,
Happy New Year to you.
and I pray and hope that this will be a prosperous year for the city as well. But Mr. McCoy touched on some of the things that I was going to ask as to the...
So does that mean you will stay within your 3 minutes?
I think so. One, that the plan that was accepted by this commission, is it being followed, and where are we in reference to that, that plan? And my second question to the commission, that we have elected officials that have been certified by the state to I would say lead and make decisions and do legislation, appropriations and all that stuff for the city. And I'm kind of baffled here as to the commission or some entities connected with the commission did the budget, and it was not done by the elected officials, but they approved the budget that was not done by them, put together. And that troubles me because they are the elected ones, and they are the ones certified by the state to do the job in which we elected them to do. And I'd just like for someone to articulate or elucidate on that, why some portion of the commissioners, I guess they're connected with the commissioners, did the plan for the city. And it's my understanding there was some monies that the council gave up and not being able to operate their branch of government. And it seemed like that we are making it a one form of government, whereas the Constitution of the United States said there are 3 distinct branches